Response to Intervention, or RTI, is a three-tiered framework for assessing and instructing learners to help meet their individual needs. RTI is for all students. Right now in the state of Pennsylvania and pretty much across the United States, every classroom has RTI time every day. Now, it may be called a variety of things. Some teachers or school districts call it WIN time, what I need. Some of them call it STAR time. Some of them call it keys. I know I've heard it called several different things, but if you get into a public school and you see 30 minutes a day for every child and they all break into a place that they need to go, that is RTI. Now, what happens is the teachers compile assessment data several times a year, and they look at the assessment data and they tier the levels. So they look at usually math and reading and writing, but sometimes they will look at behavior if there's a really big issue emotionally. But typically it's our math and our reading and our writing, and they find which children are in Tier 1. These are the children that benefit from most of their instructional needs during classroom time. They still will benefit from differentiated instruction, and they may even need some sort of enrichment. Now, Tier 2 is a group that's not performing as well as the average individual on the material, and they need small group intervention. Our Tier 1 kiddos, during their 30-minute block, will go to a classroom with another teacher, and they'll work on something they need to practice or be enriched in. But typically the classes are 20 kiddos, normal class size. The Tier 2 group is a group that needs smaller group intervention. So they're still going to work on anything that they need practice on, especially if they need some intervention in a certain area that they're behind in. And they'll get that in probably groups of 8 or smaller. Now, our third tier is our group that needs individualized intensive intervention. And they will go during their 30 minutes a day with a specialist. Now, it does say individualized, but because we don't have enough interventionists, you may see that teachers are working in small groups of 4 or less usually, and this is where we're giving them that individualized goal though. So even if they are in a small group, they'll be working individually on something they really need remediation in. This is a great model because not only does everyone break out, that they're not missing class time like we used to have for students who needed intervention, but we see it's very intensive and data-driven, and the research-based strategies teachers are using to remediate are working. Now, the other good principle of this this model is that the data is taken often. Now, I definitely don't want to have students over-assessed, but teachers can collect data through observations and classroom activities of authentic activities. And so their teachers can provide results on how the intervention is working often, and this will then either reshape their grouping. Will they go to a different part of the tier, or will they continue with new goals? And it's very specific to each child, and that's why it works. Now, recognition and response is a pre-K version of RTI. This is not in place in every preschool, but there are certain preschools that are more specific in providing intervention needs for children. And so if you have a preschool that participates in RTI pre-K, or sometimes it's called R&R, this is the same model, but it's for 3 to 5-year-olds, and it includes parents in the team approach of selecting goals. The benefits of this program or model is that it applies to all children. It doesn't single out any of our children. It provides differentiation, whether it be in the form of practice, enrichment, or remediation for all students. Students that have the highest needs get the most intense intervention, and the model is through all of our United States schools. All of our public schools are practicing this, and that's great because if we have children moving in and out of school districts, that RTI data follows them and they can jump right into the remediation in a new school. That's really important for continuing a remediation, is to not lose time.